It's as if you lost your keys for your car for 2 days. And when you get that key again, you imagine that feeling? So what was for me is that I didn't know I lost something. But when I met him, after I spoke to him, it's as if I lost something I don't know, but I know I found it, and the joy of finding something you lost. This is how I can summarize this moment in 2008 with him. And I was 14 at the time, in 2008. And when I met him, he says, "Do you know how long I've been waiting for you?" This message to a 14-year-old boy didn't click much, but he showed me how mystical he was. So I was already scared in sense of, who are you? In my mind. But when he said, "Do you know how much I've been waiting?" It means I'm speaking to someone who I don't know, but who knows me completely. So my relationship with him increased more and more every day, every second. And one of the greatest experience in my life, where Guruji shows to me that even though he's far, even though we cannot travel where he used to be at that time, I was still a student. So he made sure that he shows me that I'm watching you as a master, but also as a father. At that time, I was 14. You imagine? It's like he cannot be a master to me. He has to be like a father talking to his son. This is how the relationship was. So in 2012, it was high school certificate examination for me. I was ranked. Ranked means that you're one of the best in Mauritius. So I was ranked after laureate. People told me, you can apply for scholarships because then you will get scholarship if you're ranked. So that time in February, I applied for the ICCR scholarship, which is a scholarship given by the government of India. It's fully funded to go to India and study. So I've tried this, and we went for the interview, etc. And I never traveled in my life, so I had to make my passport, right? So in February, I go for the interview. In March, I did my passport thinking that I might get the result, the answer, and I will leave. So March, April, May. In May, I was skeptic because I was scared maybe there is not going to be any answer, because now enrollment for the University of Mauritius already started. And I said, I'm not receiving any answer, maybe I'm not selected. So what I did is I even went to the University of Mauritius and enrolled myself, and they accepted me, and I was about to start in the next 2 months. In that meantime, I had this passport with me, the new passport. So I already forgot that I would get a scholarship. So one of the days in May, my sister came home to meet me after long. He says, "Oh, you got a passport. I want to see I want to look at it." So what I did is I brought the passport out, and I showed it to her, and I left the passport on a table. And at that time, there was 2 puppies who actually came in the house. They kind of pulled the cloth that was on the table. So they pulled it down, and the passport went on the floor, and they had fun with the passport. So I was so shocked and so angry at those puppies. They munched the whole thing, but it was still fine. There was nothing torn. However, there was all the marks of the teeth, etc. I opened the first page. I looked at it. I said, "Oh, my face is still visible on it." I said, "It's fine." And I looked at it. I said, "I don't know if this is right or wrong, or maybe it's, scratch, whatever, and it could be accepted. It's valid still." July, on the 24th, I received a call from the Ministry of Education that, it says, "Hi, you have been selected for your course in India, and you are flying on the 28th of July. I remember very well, it was Tuesday afternoon that I actually got this call, and I'm flying on Saturday. So I'm like, okay, I don't even think about the passport. I'm like, oh, I'm telling all my parents and families and everyone in the temple were already coming the same night, knowing that I'm leaving. So they told me, you need to come to as soon as possible to the ministry and then sign the contract, and then go to the embassy of India, Indian embassy in Mauritius, to go and get your visa done. You imagine normally it takes like 14 days or it might take long time to do these things. But they said they will give us because we are going for the scholarship. And then I met the ambassador there who was actually welcoming all the scholars. He came to me, he says, your passport is ready, right? You brought your passport. I said, yes. And he said, can I see your passport, please? I gave him this passport and he's like, he says, what is this? I'm saying, this is my passport. He says, what's wrong with this? I said, you know, the puppies ate my passport. What? He says, this is a damaged passport, my boy. But I said, but look, the other pages is fine. And he says, no. He says, you know, you cannot travel with a damaged passport. How will you do that? You're going on Saturday. How will we give you your visa? And I'm like, you know, but is it not possible? He says, no, my boy, forget about getting in India. They won't let you. Mauritius even won't let you go out with such a passport. And this is where the whole chaos began with this passport. It's 5 p.m. that I am there. He says, do your best, try to go and see what you can do. What can the authorities in Mauritius do? And for you to get a normal passport for an application is 7 days. So you go on one day, the next 7 days after payment, you receive it. This is the time. So now it was Wednesday evening. And then Thursday is the time when I have to go to the passport office and then try to get to speak to people and get things done. Everyone in the night were coming to see me, and all in my mind I said, I'm not going. I know this passport isn't going to let me go out of Mauritius. So my brother, who was not devotee at that time, he took a leave from work to bring me to the passport office early in the morning at 10 a.m. to try to see what can be done. So then I go and meet the head, which is the lady there. So the lady and my brother was speaking. He said, you know, this boy has got a scholarship. We need to do everything. Can you see how you can help to get a passport before on Saturday? I remember very well what the lady told us. He says, my dear, but quite, she was okay in the beginning. He says, you know, even if the Prime Minister comes and wants a passport for the next day, he won't even be able to get this, because this is not how it works. And on top of this, you're applying for a second passport, which means we need to investigate why you need a second one. And the investigation takes you minimum 14 days to finish, and then they apply for it, and then you can get it in 21 days. This is how the procedure is. So my brother said, but you know, he's gonna lose this opportunity. How? Can you please do something? And the lady got angry and says, what are you asking me? I told you. And she was in her state, all right. She was shouting at my brother. And my brother was getting even angry. He said, no, how can you do that? You have to do something. My brother says, I'm going to the radio, I'm going to the media, and I'm going to tell that this is happening. The lady said, go and do what you want. As I told you, I can't do anything. And she threw us out. I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I said, better not, it's fine. Let's find Guruji's will that it's not happening. Maybe these obstacles showing me that it's not going to happen. But inside of me, I was all the time, only person I was calling and thinking of is him, Guruji. And then that time we didn't have his phone number, nothing. I used to meet him only once a year when he comes for 10 days in Mauritius. And they keeping on calling me, did you get your passport? And I said, no. So Thursday night, we come to this kirtan all the time. Every devotee is like celebrating my going. And I'm like, how? You guys know that I don't have a passport? And so they all think, in my mind, I was watching how they all knew I was leaving and I didn't know. And like, how is this possible? So at that time, Ravi, Padmalochan Das, Guruji's friend, he was the one who had his number at that time among all of us. And I was telling him this, you know, I don't have a passport and I'm not able to leave. And then he says, oh really? So let me call Guruji. He said, let me call Guruji. Why he was calling Guruji? Because there was a renovation of the temple and no one there at that time knew that he's coming. He's surprising everyone the next week. So no one knows though, he's calling. And then for the first time in my life, not the first time, sorry, second time in my life that I hear Guruji on the phone at that time. So so he speaks to him, he says, Ravi didn't even tell him anything. He just told him, hey, Ashwin is going to India, he's got a scholarship. And Guruji said, really, give me the phone, let me speak to him. The first thing Guruji tells to me, oh, you'll be leaving, you know I'm coming, I'm surprising everyone. And for me, I forgot about the passport. All I'm thinking, oh, he's coming, so I know he's gonna go. Oh my God, tears came to my eyes that he's coming to Mauritius. And then he says to me, I'm so happy you're going to India. And he says, you know what? You're gonna see me more in India than in Mauritius. It's good that you're going to India. And I don't have the time to tell him, you know, Guruji, I'm going through this problem. He says, give me the phone to Ravi. And for me at that time, Guruji, you can't like try to speak. If he says that, you just give the phone away. So I gave the phone to Ravi. And then some people are trying to think how to help me. Imagine it's Friday, and that's one day before. I don't have a visa, I don't have a passport. At that time I was working as a cashier in a shop. So on the whole, I remember very well, it was 2 p.m. I received a call, and it was the same lady who says to me, I'm sorry, this is what happens to me when I share this story. She says to me, hi, is it Mr. Vaitilingam? I said, yes. He says, you know, the higher authorities have considered your case. Your passport is ready. Please come and picking up before 4 p.m. and you need to give a fees of 4,000 rupees for the new one. And I was there, I couldn't say a word. I couldn't believe this is impossible. So the lady was like, hello? I'm like, yes. And says, you have to come, otherwise it's closing on Saturday. You have to come before 4 p.m. Otherwise, if the the place where they put the money is closed, you can't put money again because they close the balance. It says it's imperative you come and give the money, otherwise you won't get the passport. So at that time, I'm like, yes. The first person I called was my brother, because he could be the only one who could take me as soon as possible to Port Louis. And can you imagine that even the 4,000 rupees that they required from me was ready? Because Guruji's father gave me exactly 4,000 rupees in February because of my good results. And that money I've kept under my deities, knowing that maybe we'll use it for my course. I told my brother, I said, you know, we need, I was telling him, they told me to bring 4,000. He says, where do we get this now? I said, you know, I have it. It's there. My Guruji's father gave this to me as a gift. So I go home and he comes from work. He drives me. In 15 minutes, I reach the passport office and I'm paying and I receive the passport. There was no case, investigation, nothing. It was done even without my consent. I have to apply for it. I have to, do all these things. Who done it? I don't know if it's was it the people that we trust for help, but we don't know. But can you imagine when she said, the same lady who said to me, the Prime Minister won't even get this, but I got it in less than 24 hours. So then I go to the next thing is I have to get my visa done. So then I'm going to the embassy. So then they get my visa done. I was there till 10 p.m. So what is amazing is how all the devotees were there knowing that I'm leaving. You know what? I didn't have to think of anything. Even my underwear, they bought for me. My luggage, they bought for me. Everyone. Clothes, everyone, they were all around me, and I realized how much I'm so surrounded by him. It was all in his form. And I'm like, Guruji, did you really do this today? This is how, oh my goodness. I was so in such a shock. Not only I was so shocked that I got the passport, I was so shocked that I'm leaving the next day. I never traveled in my life. And then I'm leaving for 3 years. And I have to get all these things done. And I didn't have to worry. He was taking care and he was in Germany. And all the things was done in front of me. And how can you explain this? So they got all things done for me. The next morning, I was again with them, buying things, etc. Ravi was the whole day with me. And what is the most beautiful part of it is, as I'm at the airport and I'm leaving, everyone is there, bidding me farewell. I see my brother who doesn't believe in Guruji. And he was not happy that I was following Guruji all these years, my family. He was crying. And then he came to me. And then he says, you know why I'm crying? I said, you're sad I'm leaving. He says, no. He says, when I took you from Thursday to now, I felt there was someone there for you every moment. And then he says to me, I felt how your guru is with you, and he was the one doing everything. He says, I can't even believe what happened. And then he told to me, I'm definitely meeting him when he comes next time. And he was crying. My brother is a very staunch man. He's like very strict, and he barely speaks. But that he cried and he hugged me and told me this, I was like, God, my Lord, Guruji has his ways. Incredible. He's amazing how he does things to bring his people next to him. What happened is, 2008, I cried one day. Guruji, I said, my family is bothering me so much. I don't know what to do. Guruji told me, don't worry, everyone will be devotees one day. And indeed. So when I left India and I came back in 2016, they were all of them vegetarian. They were all of them devotees of him. Sister, brother-in-law, sister-in-laws, etc. and so on. Yeah.